What's going on, everybody? Happy afternoon, whatever day you're watching this. If you're watching this live, shout out to y'all who are watching this live, and everybody who's watching this on replay. Usually get seen more on replay than we get live, but either way, we're gonna do this live. This ain't gonna be long. I only got a few minutes here. Always working out different ways of scheduling. I like my days to be systematized and process driven. So we're just trying to find different ways to make this schedule work in between all the other stuff that I'm doing. I did 2 media appearances today. Just did some outreach material for more media appearances, more engagements, speaking engagements, etc. that we do over here at Work on Your Game. And that's why I haven't done the lives consistently, because the schedule's not always the same. But we're always looking for different ways to do it. But those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day, former 9-year pro athlete, author of 33 books, done 4 TEDxTalks, created this whole brand called Work on Your Game. But what we do here is very simple. Let me tell you what we do. We take the mental tools and the strategies to help athletes get to the top 1% in sports, and we translate those tools over to the business world to help professionals perform at their highest level, do it on a consistent basis, and as a result, make more money. So what I want to talk about here real quick, this ain't going to take long. I'm going to take maybe 5-10 minutes on this at the most. Topic is the hidden opportunities that are available to you in business. So any of you who's in business right now, and this can be any kind of business, you could be a professional working at a company, you could be in between jobs right now, you could be a side hustler, you can be a small business owner, you could be an entrepreneur running a Fortune 500 company. There are some hidden opportunities in business that if you are aware of these, then it will change your way of thinking, and then you can start with this new way of thinking, start looking for opportunities in different places. And perhaps you will find yourself some opportunities if you go looking for them in the places that I'm about to point out to you, and you start thinking in this way that I'm about to lay out for you. So these are ways basically that you can find loopholes and opportunities to make things happen for yourself in business outside of the traditional ways of doing things. So of course, there are the traditional ways, like posting a bunch of content on social media these days a traditional way of doing business. Running advertisements is a traditional way of doing business. Having the right connections to the right people, that's a traditional way of doing business. None of these are wrong. These are all good things to do. So if you are thinking about doing those things, or you're already doing them, keep doing them. Okay. I want to add these in. These are extras. These are supplemental ways that you can do business at any time that your current ways maybe not be working as much as you need them to, or maybe you just want some extra. Maybe you're just trying to do more. What you're doing now is working, but you want to do more than that, and you're looking for some other ways to do it. I'm going to tell you what those are here today. So let's get right into it. And because what I'm going to tell you here today, these just require you got to have some balls. So you got to have some cojones to do these things, because they're going to take you outside of the normal path of the way most people operate in business. Number one, look for the unusual suspects, not the usual suspects, the unusual suspects. What's an unusual suspect? An unusual suspect is the type of person who could help you create an opportunity for yourself, but they're not the type of person who everybody's looking for. So right now, if you were looking for somebody to help, let's say, for example, one of the things that a lot of marketers do, and this is something that I'll be getting into more in the future, is they do what they call influencer advertising, right? So instead of going to Facebook and running Facebook ads to market and promote your product, what people do instead is they go to an influencer who already has an audience, and they pay the influencer to promote the product, and they get their traffic to their website based on the influencer marketing the product instead of giving the money to Facebook. So what I'm saying here when I say the unusual suspect is the influencer who might not have that many people coming to them, but it might be a good opportunity if you went to that individual. So it's not always going to the main top guy or girl who's most known that everybody's trying to get with. Is going to the person that maybe nobody's paying attention to, but there's a hidden opportunity there if you connect with that individual. If you get a strong connection with them, there's a great opportunity in working with that person. So the unusual suspect is simply the person in the room who nobody's paying attention to, but if you paid attention to them, there's a whole lot that you could get from working with this individual. So this requires for you to work with the unusual suspects, folks. Understand something. This is not simply just going and Googling. You got to do some work. You got to do a little bit of leg work in order to make this work, because you got to find the right type of people who you should connect with, who it would make sense for you to do something like this. And I'm just using, let's say, influencer marketing as an example, but there are plenty of examples of this. But you got to be thinking, hey, who could I do business with here that maybe other people aren't looking for or checking for, but if I did business with them, there's a big opportunity here. It's an untapped opportunity. That's really what you're looking for. So any of you who's in finance, one of the best ways to turn around an investment in a very healthy way is to find that untapped opportunity, that business that nobody's paying attention to, and the stock price is relatively low, but it's going to blow up, and you identify it before it blows up, and you invest heavy before it blows up, you make a lot of money. But you got to find that right one, which means you got to do a good amount of research to find that opportunity that other people don't see. And to find that untapped opportunity, you got to be looking at things in a different way than most people look at things. Because if you're using the same model and the same formulas as everybody else, well, how are you going to get to it before everybody else? Because everybody's using the same formula. So this is, again, you got to think of, how can I look at things differently than how everybody else is looking at things. Simply, sometimes you just got to look deeper and further than other people are looking. If you're willing to do that and do more than most people are doing when it comes to the work, then you can create an opportunity for yourself just by being more persistent and more diligent. Number 2, look for the back doors. Anytime you're trying to get into the front door of an opportunity, the challenge is the more popular the opportunity, the more people are trying to get into the front door. So any of you ever go into a nightclub or a bar that's very popular, and there's a bunch of people trying to get in, well, what is it? What do you got at the front door? You got a line at the front door. There's a velvet rope, and you got the big security guards, and they get to decide who gets in. And you might get in, and you might not. You might have to pay to get in. You might have to stand in line for 45 minutes. You might not get in at all, even if you stood there all that time. So a quicker way to get in is to get in the back door. Well, if you just went to the back door where there's no line, now the only challenge is you got to get somebody to open the back door. So what's the best way to get someone to open the back door? Call somebody who's already on the inside. Now, see, if you already know somebody who's on the inside, they can get you into the back door of a situation, so you don't have to get in the front doorway. So to give you an example of this, I remember my dad when I was young, a job that he worked at, he had friends who he told them he could help them get a job there. And the way he could help them get a job there, because he worked there for so many years, he could go to his bosses with an application from one of his friends, and he could get anybody on simply because he had worked there for so long. He had the trust of the bosses. So connecting with him was like a back door to getting into the job. So any of you who's ever gotten a job somewhere because you already knew somebody who worked there, that's the back door. I remember I worked at a movie theater once when I was like 19, 20 years old. And the way I got the job at the movie theater, yes, I did an application, I did an interview and all that. But the real reason I got the job is because my man already had a job at the movie theater. So he recommended me. And then when I went to the job interview, it really wasn't that hard of an interview because the boss was like, I hired you because I was already I was friends with, and I came recommended by someone who the boss already trusted. So a back door is sometimes just making the right connection with the right person. That gets you a back door into an opportunity. You don't have to do the normal process to get in. So any of you who could get somebody a job at a company, or you ever got a job somewhere because you knew someone, or you ever got a business deal because you came recommended, or any of you who is an entrepreneur and you do client work or service-based business, and you ever got a client because one of your current clients recommended one of their friends, that's the back door. All right. So you got a new client and new business, and you didn't even have to work for it in a traditional way. And you didn't have to spend the same money to market simply because you got in the back door. So sometimes the back door is just having the right connections. So a question you want to ask yourself on a consistent basis is, what's another way that I can make this happen? So if you're trying to market your business right now, you don't have an advertising budget and you can't buy ads, what's another way you can make it happen? If you don't have the right connections, what's another way you can make it happen? If you're not creating a ton of content, what's another way that you can make it happen? There's always a different way to make it happen, but you have to open your mind by asking yourself the question, what's another way that I can do this? And if you ask yourself that enough, you will come up with different ways. And another thing that you can do in this process is you can start coming up with ideas. Train your idea muscle. So any of you who works out on a regular basis, you understand if you went a month or two without working out, your body's not going to feel the same after that month off, after that first workout, than if you just worked out on a consistent basis, because your body, the muscles they atrophied because you weren't working them out. So it's the same thing when it comes to ideas. If you want to be more creative, folks, you have to train your brain to be more creative by consistently challenging it to come up with ideas. You can't just expect it to come up with something out of nowhere when you ain't been doing the work. And number 3, what are we talking about here? Hidden opportunities in business. Number 3, the riches are in the niches. The riches are in the niches. Now, I'm calling this a hidden opportunity because it is obvious to many people, but many people are also completely oblivious to this concept. The niche simply means you getting more specific and detailed as to what you do instead of being so general and broad in what you do. The more specific you get, yes, you are cutting off a certain amount of the audience because you're being very specific, but you are being the exact person that they want for a certain part of the audience. And you'll be able to, you can charge higher prices. It'll be easier for you to market, and you're the go-to person, which means in the long run, the big picture, in the aggregate, you will make more money when you are specific as to what you do. So for example, if I said something like, I'm a business coach, all right, that's broad in general compared to if somebody said, I'm a business coach and I only work with entrepreneurs who have exited a business, meaning they sold the company for at least $50 million and they are starting a new business in the tech space and they have at least 8 employees and they have been in business for less than 10 months. All right, that's a very niche and is very specific. So if I happen to be that entrepreneur and I hear somebody say that, I'm like, damn, this person is working with people who are just like me. I'm going straight to them. All right, I'm not looking at 30 different business coaches and trying to pick one. I'm going straight to that person because they are very specific and they're talking specifically to me. So this is the thing when you get niched down or niched down, however you want to say that word, is you are super specific as to who you are serving. And when the person who you're serving hears about you, they will come straight to you and they are not considering 15 other options. Now, when you're broad in general, you may be getting compared to against 15 other options because there are 15 other people saying the same thing that you're saying. So when you niche down, you eliminate competition and you make yourself the go-to choice for whoever happens to be looking at you. So let me recap these 3 points right here and then we're going to wrap this up. I usually go longer in these vibes, but today I said I was going to go short. So hidden opportunities in business. Number 1, target the unusual suspects. Who is out there but is a untapped opportunity? You have to do the legwork to figure this out. Number 2, look for the back doors. Who do you know that's already on the inside? What's another way you can make it happen outside of the ways that you would traditionally try to do it, outside of the ways of what everybody else is doing? Again, you got to have the idea muscle exercise in order to do this. And number 3, the riches are in the niches. How can you niche down and be super specific so that people hear about you and they see you and they're like, damn, that's the only option I need. I only need this person because they're talking about exactly what I need right now. The more niche and specific you can get in what you're doing, the easier it will be for people to choose you and not have to pick or choose you against any other option because they don't see any other option. So with all that said, y'all, I send out a daily motivation text free of charge every single day. Any of you want to get it, all you got to do is text me at this number that I'm putting in the comments right now, 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University, that's where I do all my coaching. That's where all my courses, all my trainings are at. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link is the link in my bio on IG. There's also a link down there in the comments right there. I told y'all I would keep this short, so I'm keeping it short. Y'all hit me in the text or hit me in the DM. You got a question. Work on your game. Yeah.